Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly... Still haven't got a name for this yet. Witcher Master? I don't know. Game Master for Witchers? I don't know. Witch Coven Leader? That's not any good. We're getting worse.
No.
But today we are carrying on our ongoing campaign playing our Talsorian's outstanding The Witcher fantasy RPG. And with me today are the stars of our campaign, the season, which this current arc is called the Season of Ravens. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got Sean.
Hey everybody, I'm playing Werzium, the Witcher of the Viper School.
Very nice. Next up is Will.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm playing Sindife. He's an elf mage.
Nice. And last but certainly not least is Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert, and I'm playing Gravik Asram. He's a dwarf doctor.
Nice. Now, we have folks who are on vacation today, and we have someone returned from vacation from the strange and exotic land of Canada. Why don't we tell Will what he missed last time? What happened last time, guys?
Let's see here.
All right, I was here.
I will give, I said, I don't have any visual cues, unfortunately, but I can tell you that one of the things that occurred was you did travel to a new village. You found that we started our session off in that slaughtered village from before, having defeated two werewolves.
So
my problem was I was trying to remember how Gravik almost died again, but I was like, we didn't have combat. Okay.
He's got a knack for that.
Yeah.
Will, were you there in the village that was slaughtered?
I was, yes. No.
Will was
No. You talking about the... I mean, it was the one where we were at the north where we killed the thing in the lake and all that.
Okay, yeah. So we've been journeying to the, for a number of sessions to our job, which we got from a noble to uncurse a particular town. Names of which will come to me eventually here. But so we've been journeying for a while, and first thing that happened was we got attacked by bandits. Which was pretty serious. Gravik went down pretty hard. Werzium was wounded pretty good. We recovered from that, kept going, and then another party was detected by Selena. They were from the north, and she ran into a couple of unnatural seeming wolves that she dodged. Yep. And we were speculating of what they may have to do with the people from the north. We decided not to make contact with those folks, kept going, got to a village town that everyone in the town was killed, and all the bodies were in the town square, covered with birds, feasting birds, and we investigated some in that town. The bodies were lined up in the words of Elvish words. Let's see here. How quickly
That's
can I come
coming
up
back
with
to me.
So something with I'll have to look for it, but it was like vengeance, kind of a message, and then we were attacked in that town by a couple of the wolves. Had a battle with them, dispatched them. They turned back into people when they were dead. Looked like they were members of that northern party, in general at least. And then we marched on to find the next village down, which was intact, and we kind of liaisoned with them, made peace with them, because they were on alert. They didn't know about the other village. We told them about the other village, which obviously they were concerned about, but they've been having their own issues with missing cattle, and then in a mysterious way, and then a hunter tried to solve it, and then he disappeared. So that was pretty hot on their plate. We spent the night, which was good for us, needing like a hotel to be in, or not a hotel, but someone to put us up, and then they hired us. They pitched us to solve their problem, which we accepted. And we're on our way to a job, but we took the side job, which was what's going on with they're missing cattle and they're missing Hunter. And we were in the midst of that investigation. We were kind of on the beginning, if I remember correctly, on the right on the.
Yeah, you'd arrived there. The village itself is set in a fairly pronounced valley. On the way to the north, there are lush farms and fields in this valley. It's sort of divided by a river that goes through it, and the village itself has palisades and walls. But what they've been doing is actually moving all of their cattle inside the village at night for fear of this thing that was hunting them. And the offer was, did we put it in chat? Midway Village and Nicholas was Midway Village is the name of the village. I don't have down what the offer was, though I was trying to watch that this morning to refresh my memory, but did not get to it in time. It was like a certain amount of offered and then like double that in trade if you chose to go and trade.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right. And they did have I'd asked about, Wurzim had asked about a
blacksmith.
Smith. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So that brings us up to, I think, Dr. Gravek, it looks like you got an anatomist roll. Do you remember what your examination of the, I think it was the cattle remains? Oh, and someone helpfully pointed out the names. Last time we were talking about like the names of bones in animals, or I was at least trying to figure out. Like I don't know if they got different names. Mammals all have the same names for bones, apparently. So
sounds right.
Yeah. So because it was like the top part of a cow's head, I believe, and like a clavicle of a bone, and you would examine that. Do you remember what you uncovered?
It was talons. Basically, the upshot was that he thought it was something that was flying with like talons, like almost like a raptor's. And then when I say raptor, I don't mean dinosaur. I mean like eagle or hawk or something like that.
This is my backdoor way, Jurassic Witcher.
Yeah. I'm trying to lead you one direction, not the other. It's like Big Eagle sounds a little less scary than Pteranodon.
Yeah. You also noticed there were other markings that were deeper and shorter.
In the bone?
Yeah.
Oh, in the bone itself, yeah.
Yeah. Suggesting a beak of some kind.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the examination that Dr. Gravek conducted, and that's sort of where we left it. It was just early in the morning, so you guys still had the rest of your day to examine. The paddock where all the cattle are kept is separate from where the village is. Normally they're kept outside, and they're all sort of being brought back out to the field to graze, and then they'll spend their days in the paddock once again. Oh, you got a sidekick.
Yes.
Gosh, they get so big.
And hold on here.
It'll probably be well.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute him in. We don't need to eavesdrop on his conversation here. I'll just, where are we here? There we go. Okay, I've muted him in Zoom.
I believe how big he's gotten.
Yeah, really.
It's just crazy.
Oh, it's a Darwin too, right?
Right. I can't believe how big Darwin's gotten.
Yeah. Time, she's a flying.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert, I muted you in Zoom. If you mute and roll 20, it doesn't do anything because we don't. Yeah, we didn't want to be eavesdropping in on your conversation, so you should be able to just unmute yourself.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay. So then, what you guys have investigated thus far has been the remains of the cattle head that was found in the woods. I don't believe there's the remains of the hunter have been found as of yet.
Right. And we were discussing of that we need to find a way to we need to find a way to hobble the apparent avian so we can deal with it.
Yeah.
And I had a couple signs. I had thrown out there that I have a couple of signs that may help, but in any case, we need to keep it grounded somehow.
Yeah. So, Sindaith, do you have any questions that you would have asked before you guys begin your investigation here?
I don't think so. I think I remember now once Sean recapped everything. I think the main part I'd missed was the journey to this village.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think I'm relatively caught up on everything else.
Okay.
Except I think the only thing I'm not sure that, because we haven't actually played together since then, is, and you would have, of course, heard about this because everybody did. I believe one of the reasons that Gravik might appear to be kind of discombobulated and whatnot these days is that a demon from our old friend, although showed up and attempted to drag him to the quiet place, told him that he was on a mission to find him, and then once that happened, he would drag him to the sorceress, and she would probably put him in the quiet place.
Yeah.
Which is basically hell.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so he's a little frazzled these days.
Yeah, Dr. Gravik, since you left the city, he has been an exceptionally jumpy fella.
Yep.
Understandably.
Well, he also took a crossbow bolt to the head, so I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. It'll make anyone a little off their game. So.
It was not a good trick.
So then what do you... I'm trying to see if I loaded an illustration of the Shadow Demon. I did not, so I'll have to do that between now and when it next appears. So I guess over the break, or... Then what do you guys wish to do next? And we did also one thing that I did see. Wurzium was getting, for the first time in a very long time, a little bit of adulation from the common masses.
Oh.
Because when word had gone around Midway Village that the Witcher is finally here, and the Witcher is going to deal with this. They were dealing with the kind of de facto, a village this size doesn't really have like a mayor or a reeve or anything like that, but there's a headsman named Nicholas who they've been dealing with. And he had dealt with a Witcher, or his grandfather had dealt with a Witcher in his time. And it seems as if he may have been believing some of the stories that his grandfather told him. Sindaith, you can fill up your stamina once again, too. You'll be at max stamina once again. And let's see here.
Oh, there it is.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Should be it. That fix it. Yeah.
Give me a sec here. Okay. Here we go. So, let's go over to the mountain stream here. Oops. And what do you guys wish to do next? You have your free reign of Midway Valley and Midway Village in specific. What are you thinking?
Let's see. So we've looked at the body of
the carcass of what remains of that cow.
Right. I think another thing we discussed was observing the location I think that came up. That to have someone take us out to the location of where this thing had done its work.
Okay. Yep, and you've got and one of Nicholas's sons is helping you out with this, so he can helpfully take you out there. Who would like to give a perception check?
Let's see here. Character sheet.
See, my awareness is a.
Yeah.
I'm a combined 11.
I think you're better than me then.
That's it. 9 plus 2 is also 11.
Either of y'all.
How about the Witcher?
Yeah, makes sense. Come on.
Okay. Remember, everyone's luck has topped up as well at the start of the session. Okay, so you spend some time looking around the pen where one of the or the corral, I guess, where one of the first cattle was taken, and you're checking the fence for any markings. You're checking for anything that may have been knocked off, whatever this raptor or predator might have been. You're looking for markings on the ground, but unfortunately, because they're putting the cattle back in here throughout the day, it seems like it's trampled everything. Any clear evidence would have been trampled away long before.
All right. And this is before we go out to the location, right?
Before you go out to which location?
To the so is this the only location we know of that they've been killed?
Two places. You know that the cattle have been taken from the corral, and you also know that the hunter's blind that their hunter set up, that was where he went missing from. He was trying to set a trap for whatever it was that was preying on the cattle, and he just went missing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's head out to the blind.
Yeah.
Okay. So the blind itself is it's set a little ways away on kind of on the farthest side of the valley, near where the tree line is, and set just like slightly within the tree so that it's not obvious and you can see out into the valley. Like a clever spot for for catching things going along the tree line. Worsium, would you once again give us an awareness check? And you can feel free to add luck to this if you'd like.
All right. I will add 3 points of luck.
Nice.
Ooh,
32. That's 3 points. That made all the difference.
Yeah.
So what you're looking around here, there's a few things that you pick up from just observing the surroundings and whatnot. Yeah, fair enough. Although that is, I think you've played with me long enough to know that is also a way to drown or to drain narrative metacurrency.
Oh wait, the fag dragon just showed up. And
Yeah,
we have no
exactly.
luck. Damn it! Damn it!
This is the most limited metacurrency I think we play with. Of any of the games we play with, this is the one that is the most like you got to spend it before and you can't affect dice rolls afterwards.
Yeah. You have to keep one in case you die.
Yeah.
So looking around Worsium, what you can see is it appears as if the blind itself is set up about like there's a little there's cross beams that are nailed into a tree to get up to this thing, and it's probably about 15 feet up in the air, and you can see that there are spatters, dried spatters of blood. They're easy to miss because of the dark, bark of the tree, but you can see with your mutated eyes, there are some flecks of it that would come from a puncture wound, and if you were to guess, this hunter was perched on this thing and looking down when he was grabbed from behind. There's no scratches or whatnot on the platform itself. But when you're looking down from the platform, you can see about maybe 15 or 20 feet in front, there's a scuff mark on about 7 feet up on one of the trees, and then there looks like there are some bushes and such that are crushed. And when you get back down to the ground level and make your way over there, there are still some small flecks of blood on some of the lighter colored plants. If you were to guess, something came from behind him, grabbed him hard enough so that some blood came out, and then either he or the creature hit the tree on the way down and then landed on the ground. So if it landed on him, that's a lot of weight and falling from a long height with some extra speed put to it. So the hunter may very well have died, from hitting the ground, but it's clear that he was then picked up because there's no drag marks here, there's no whatever. So if whatever this thing was, it was able to smash someone to the ground and then pick them up immediately too, it's not a small animal. With a 32, you'll also look around a bit, and what you will find underneath part of the crushed foliage in there is a wedged feather. If you pull it out, the feather itself is about maybe almost like 1.25 feet long. Like, it's a good size feather and jet black. You can give us a Witcher lore check if you like, because that was a really good awareness roll. 19. So I think it's definitely something large. You're thinking either some kind of like mutated or whether by magic or by spiritual force, some enormous bird or crow perhaps, although the nature of the beak, the damage that Dr. Gravex saw, it precluded it being like a scavenger or omnivorous bird, like a bird. Did we say?
Vulture.
Yeah, what are they called? They're corvids, aren't they? Is that what? Yeah,
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, so it's not a raven or a crow or something like that. It's probably a bird of prey, but this could be a enormous size hawk of some kind. It could be a griffin. It could be a cockatrice. Like there are a number, or some unique thing that you're not aware of. Suffice it to say, it's big, whatever it is that picked this person up. Not only because of the size of this feather, but imagine the strength that this thing must have to be able to ambush a full-grown man and then carry them off, let alone the one, be able to carry off cattle.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have an idea of what we're up against. It's a matter of how to lure it, and it worked this time. The hunter was successful in that way, so perhaps bringing cattle out here could lure it. But the question is how to hobble it to get to it.
Would there be a way to set? And I'm sorry, I missed a little bit of the description of the place. So is this a pretty heavily wooded area?
Yeah.
Or trees around?
The valley itself is not. It's open up. It's been cleared out, and there's farmland in there. But it's been cleared up to the point where there's very, very thick primordial forest. Yeah.
So Gravik, who really, he knows something about witchers, but he always looks to Worthy of when he's coming up with kind of crazy idea to see whether or not he feels like he could do it. Would there be any way to kind of set up a trap, so that it would deploy like a net or even some way to hobble it after it landed, after it grabbed the cattle.
In the valley itself, it would be, unless you had a way of deploying it over the thing, that might be tricky.
Yeah.
But there's certainly lots of places in here where you could string a net between or a rope between or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have anything mage that would perhaps lend itself to something like this, do you?
I don't think so.
And I don't have anything that would be, be lightly, it would help slightly, I could perhaps try to stun it, this kind of thing. But it's not lasting.
Doesn't the stun thing knock it out of the sky too, if it's flying? Let's see here.
Range, though, is 8 meters, so that would need to be very close.
Well, let me ask you this then, Warzium. How well can you moo?
Moo or move?
Moo.
Moo.
I don't know if that would. Yeah.
Let's see.
Chloroform, but I don't have any. That might be something to start looking into. I always get these ideas of what alchemical items I might need after they become useful.
Right.
That's why your doctorate is in hindsight.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another question. Actually, is what alchemicals we would like to have, if possible.
Yeah. So let's take a look at your. You did roll well enough with what you're training, unless this thing is a cursed creature. It might be. I think it's beast oil or hybrid oil, depending on the nature of the thing. If you think it's a bird, then and it's oversized, probably beast oil. If you think this thing is a subject of a curse, then cursed oil. If you think this thing is a griffin or some other kind of hybrid creature, then hybrid oil would be what you want to look for.
And just as a quick question then regarding that, do any of us know, or I guess Warzium particularly, does he know of legends, at least birds this size? I mean, to me, it feels like that would be something that you would see fairly regularly if they were hunting. Whereas a griffin or a more intelligent beast, might be less likely to be seen, I guess, if it didn't want to be.
What we know, Warzium, what he's learned thus far is about as much as he knows.
Okay. You're kind of talking through, a little bit, trying to use a little bit of understanding of animals and whatnot. So,
Dr. Krivek, would you give us an alchemy check, please?
Gosh. Oh, sorry, yes. Where is my... There it is. Open. Alchemy check. Oh, just for kicks, I'm going to throw in luck.
Okay. So you see Warzium holding up that feather, and he's looking around, and you're like, wait, give me that. You take a look at it, and perhaps there's some alchemical, you're smelling it. You're looking at the way the light hits this thing. You are quite confident that this is a feather from a griffin, which means it is a source of vermilion.
Ah,
Ooh.
okay. Great. And he said, yeah, I smell vermilion on this, or a related scent to it. That's a griffin, unless there's another bird out there that has that smell.
One thing,
Interesting.
so Werzium, with Dr. Greyback's assistance, that does bump your skill roll up a little bit, and you're like, okay, well, this is, if it's a griffin, for one, griffins aren't this color, generally. A black feathered griffin is not something that you've heard of before, and the markings on this are different. The other thing you would know is that I mean, obviously, you know, griffins in The Witcher, like in other settings, are a combination of eagle and lion. So really just like a very, very fearsome and terrible predator to be facing. But one of the signature things that griffins use in their hunting is this sonic screech. You remember them saying anything about that? Maybe they just, you didn't think to ask for it, but you may want to speak to the villagers as to whether there is a screech that they've heard.
All right.
So in that case, we would want what's the oil we wanted? The hybrid oil?
So Griffin hybrid oil is the thing you'd want, yeah. You may want to, if you want to give us a foraging check to Dr. Greyback, just because I imagine you're always on the lookout for ingredients, you may be able to, there may be another feather or two kicking around here.
Okay. Now, does each one count as...
Each one counts as one.
As one vermilion. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Foraging check. Forage. Yeah, especially if you saw that, you'd be like, any others around? Foraging is under... Sorry, I'm trying to find it. It's under...
Oh, it might be wilderness survival. Hold on. I thought it was called foraging. I could be wrong, though.
Ooh.
This is one of those games where they don't give you a list of skills on the DM screen. Which is... Just do that. Come on. Game publishers, come on. Make it easy for those of us who run more than one game.
Would it be wilderness survival?
I think, maybe. Let's see here. Well, actually, you know, I'll look at it. It's under the... creation. Here we go. Yeah, the forage roll. I'm just looking under the fixing and salvaging stuff.
I see on page 51 it says foraging in a sidebar. Wilderness survival can be used to forage for just about anything you can find in the wilderness.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide if that's what you use for foraging for substances, or whether
Gotcha.
You can use alchemy to do that.
That's in there too, I think. Let's see. But you can also hunt for alchemical ingredients and crafting components. The specific foraging DCs are mentioned starting on page 143 in the crafting section.
Okay, and it says it under wilderness survival?
This is on page 51 in the in a sidebar, foraging.
Okay.
Is where I'm reading from, page 51.
Okay, so it is, yeah, it is wilderness survival.
Okay, that's too good.
Yeah, so give us a wilderness survival check, please.
Sure. We're just going to go normal.
Oh, man. So you recover 4 other feathers.
Nice.
Yeah. Or at least the equivalent thereof by looking around the whole sort of area.
Right. Great. All right. Making some notes for my character sheet. Then I got to find what I can include vermilion.
It's on the right-hand side of one of the... Because they've actually color-coded it. It's green.
Okay. Yep, I'll get it. Don't worry.
Okay.
And those feathers will assist us in making the proper oil? Doctor? I think.
I am unsure if this is one of your alchemical potions, then you would know better than myself.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, under gear and inventory.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, hybrid.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I see how it works.
Dr. Graybeck is collecting this stuff. Words give me an idea of what has taken this thing down now. What are you guys thinking? How do you face this thing?
I have a crossbow. That's worked really well before, or in theory.
Yeah. Still not enough.
I'm good at shooting it. I'm better at receiving bolts.
Yeah.
I don't think he's good at it. I'm not sure he's actually done any damage to anything yet.
You did hit the Beast of Tancred Lake once, so that was
I did
twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, you did connect.
We still need to be able to ground this thing. Even if we could snare a foot, for example, it would that rope would need to be well secured, like to trees, something like that. It wouldn't be enough for us to be holding it. It would probably carry us off on the rope. Perhaps a snare. Thing with a snare, we'd only get one crack at it. So the snare, the net. Perhaps when it got close enough, snaring it and trying to stun it. You could potentially set fire to it, Mage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we get it. I can definitely alight it.
So there's that. I mean, that's not strictly grounding, but I mean, it would, doesn't hurt.
These things are traditionally pouncers, so they will come in and attack and then fly off and come in and attack. So plan for a colossal pain in the ass fight.
If they, but if it lands, I'm just wondering if it lands, would it be possible to attack a cow? No, that won't work because then the cows will set off the traps. Okay. I was thinking put like effectively bear traps around, but that means that your cow probably.
Well, it's also having bear traps then too.
That's true. Yeah.
We're being inventive. How about a fucking Vickers machine gun?
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
already,
I meant something like that, and I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need some Ewoks. Ewoks know how to set traps.
Out of that, let's see, the net, the snare, setting it afire, trying to stun it. I think some kind of simultaneous. The fire could eat through the net, so there's a little bit of a complication there if we went the net route. Unfortunately, probably the best in the town at these traps would have been the hunter. What strikes thee? You think maybe I don't know about the snare. If it has much. I mean, if it's going to pounce on a piece of cattle, I don't know how the snare would work, since it's not going to be approaching on foot.
Right.
Guys, when have the attacks happened thus far?
At night, right?
Yeah. That also, Worzium, is unusual for griffins. Griffins typically fight or attack during the day. They're not like owls and come at night. They will come during the day because they're terrifying opponents, right? They're nothing but claws and beaks and whatever. So what does that portend? The distemper griffin.
Yeah. I mean, the wolves have not been purely wolves, so perhaps the griffin is not purely a griffin. That could be a shapeshifter, I suppose. Something that we've seen shapeshifting into unnatural wolves, and so perhaps shapeshifting into a griffin.
Did what are the moon phases like? This happened like last night, right?
The most recent. This thing has been praying here for about 2 months now.
Okay, so fairly regularly.
Yeah.
So so nothing related to moon.
But the regularity of its strikes for prey that are cattle, so they certainly seem like they're not strategic. They seem bestial in nature, that it's feeding. You know, it has a very natural feeding cycle. It somewhat appears, which doesn't really lend itself to a shapeshifter, I don't think. I mean, you would become a griffin. A shapeshifter would become a griffin not to prey on cattle, you would think. So, but I don't know. Not sure what to make of the.
Would you say that the thing you found in that other village was that something preying on something, or was that some kind of that was more war?
Yeah, and the other village was more almost indiscriminate slaughter.
Taking out the village, yep. And then attacking us as well. So that seems that's strategic, whereas this seems more bestial. Regular preying on cattle to feed seems different.
Yeah.
So the trap will be at night. If we go after it, it'll probably come at night, we can presume. And the net's the best. The net is the only thing I can think of having. We could try something like that, and then you could try to cast it on fire. I could try to stun it, and then the doctor hop on its back. I think that's our plan.
And put a bolt in the back of its head.
Get it, doctor, get it.
So I think for the net, I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to be fair about this. I'm trying to think why a mountain village would have a net lying around. I think they could make one with the rope, but it may take the day to make something like that. But I can't think of a reason why they would have a net kicking around.
Not really.
Like you would use it. I could picture you use it for travel. You use it for fishing. Like for securing cargo on big, on ships or things like that. If you guys can think of a reason they might have a net, I'm happy to go that way. I'm struggling to think of what, why a farming village would have nets already.
At best, the hunter would have a small one for hens, or not hens, but squirrels, whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing like what we need. So no, I don't think so either. They'd have to probably make it.
Then that means we get our first, heroes leading the village montage of the game. Some epic rock music while people are stitching together a net from different kinds of rope.
And us looking very serious and, pointing villagers this way and that.
You pull one piece of the net together and it comes apart and you're like,
no. And trading them with pitchforks. Go like this. Yeah.
So, if you picture the village or the valley itself, it's kind of like a teardrop shaped, with the narrowest end of the valley where the river comes down from the mountains, and then it flows out into the larger bit. On the southern side of the river is where the village is located, and the cattle pen and whatnot on the northern side is where the the hunter's blind was and where the bait was last time. Where are you guys thinking of laying your trap, and we're trying to draw this thing in, and how, I suppose?
Well, if we can get the cows underneath a reasonably thick area of trees, it might not be able to come straight in. It might have to land and come to them that way. I'm assuming that if it hears them, it's going to come and then try to, of course, this may not be a good assumption, but it may still try to get at them, even if it can't drop directly down.
So you're saying them. I think what the question the farmer would have is, they may, in our montage of you guys planning, he may spill out, coins and place 6 of them down, spread out, and then say, I'm going to take one of these, keep an eye on them. And then he removes all of them but one and says, I'm going to grab this one, keep an eye on it. Which is the easier task?
True, one, yeah. So, sorry, I was thinking more like them as in griffins, just in case it's more than one. So, yeah, have one cow underneath in an area that's fairly thickly wooded, and of course tie it so that it can't leave. Then the griffin might have to go underneath the kind of thickly forested area, and may not be able to go straight up, at least right away.
Yeah, I think it's the best we have. So
Yeah.
we employ the villagers to make a large net, use a piece of cattle that is sturdily tied to a tree, as surreptitiously as possible, and we can try to see if it'll take the bait, despite there not being a immediate path to the sky. Try that out. And
how do you intend to deploy the net?
I guess from the trees. I don't know if we can employ villagers for this. Maybe, but from the trees, it would have to be in the overhanging trees that they would try to cast the net over. That's a weighted net over the top of it. To foil its wings.
Think through how that's going to play out. How do you get a weighted net up in the trees, spread out well enough so it would actually deploy properly, and then have them cast that down? These are...
It's gonna... If you you guys remember that old movie, Return of the Jedi? That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a snap net. So... you would have the net on the ground, and each of the points, so probably each of the points, the 4 points, be taut, and you'd have kind of like you would, basically a snare. You're going to have it to where it's like tied off to like a tree or something, like a spring mechanism, where it's going to pull it. That's what I would think would be the better way to do it. And then you have your bait in the middle.
Yeah.
In other words, and the cattle would be sitting on top of the net?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, you cover the net up with debris and stuff, leaves and whatnot.
And then, it would be propelled by, what would it be propelled by? What would
I would say you're going to do it, like you would some of the snares, where you're going to take like a tree or something, usually a tree of some sort, bend it, so there's tension, and you've got, I would say probably you've got a line holding that, and when you cut that line, the tree pulls up, and that's what's attached to the corners. Does that make sense? I mean, you'd have to have multiple, ones laid out, but that's the general concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we could find if we could get if a tree would work like that.
Yeah, let me think about that.
And have the cattle tied.
Right.
As a secondary assist in the situation. Tied to a tree, secured to a tree by a rope.
Because you could have, I think you could have all of them tied under tension to the same tree. Because really, what's going to close the net is gravity.
Mm.
Once it pulls up, the sides are going to collapse because there's something heavy there, and it's being held off the ground. It's being lifted up off the ground. So as you lift it, it closes.
We'll try that. Well, let's we can set the village to creating the net.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, probably do it around here. Do it around where the hunter thought this was a good place for. How is the and maybe further into the thicket. See if it'll still come. So that it can't, to try to prevent it from dive bombing as much as we can, and see if it'll still come.
Right.
So I think we'll go back and I'll tell the headsman the overall scheme.
Okay.
And I'll ask for his assistance in making such a net.
Okay, they can put everyone's hands to that.
Yep.
So they'll be working on, let's see. Sean, would you give us a 1d10 exploding roll, please?
All right. Okay.
Let's see how their crafting goes. Will it be ready today?
Indeed. Let's see here. 1d10. Exploding.
Okay. And Gravek may be looking for the sources of... okay. So it may be ready tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. But that may also give you sufficient time to look for Sol and Fulgur if you do not have it. If you do intend on making hybrid blade oil.
Yes.
Under Saul, almost everything seems to be on beasts of some sort or monsters, except for fields.
So wolf's aloe leaves can be found in the Blue Mountains. You may find them, yeah, and verbena is found in fields.
Yep. Okay.
And I mean that you do have the benefit of having they cleared out this whole valley here, so you may actually be able to find some verbena.
Okay. Great. And Fulgur, underground, or dogs and wolves.
Yeah, did you get any? Does anyone have any dog tallow from the wolves that you guys faced?
I don't think we got
Dog tallow.
So then there may be.
Yes. So whenever we kill something, we have to look at these charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I mean, your characters would have known that, though. So why don't we do this? Why don't you give us, Gravek, give us an. I'm going to set. Where's my Witcher's journal? Here we go.
Where to go?
Here we go. Why don't you give us it's an alchemy with a DC 18.
All right.
This would have been to process the dog tallow when you faced those the warg and the
right.
wolves and whatnot. You guys did have enough downtime there to maybe boil that stuff down.
Yep, he's going to use 2 more luck, leaves him 1 left for when he dies.
Okay.
And sorry, I'm not worried. Yeah, I'll not cut off. Fumbles.
Oh! Turns out
was...
Dr. Gravek has lycanthropy now. He has cursed himself. I was joking to George about how I end up shoehorning some kind of dog monster into every game I run. So this is really
There you go.
There we go. So unfortunately, you don't have that. You may. Can you think of any other way to potentially track that down? In addition, you can also whoever has the best wilderness survival, you can certainly try and find some verbena in the fields around here.
Yeah. I think that's a combination of... Actually, I think that was me, if I recall.
I have a combined 10.
Forgive me, do you have the recipe for... I can't remember if... Do witchers automatically get all the... Like, the recipes for all the oils and stuff like that? Or is it, like, other things where you need to learn it?
I doubt it. Let me see. I was trying to... let's see.
Like, I don't... no, for the others, I think you might know it as part of your training because there's not a cost for the formula. The way there is for the others.
Yeah. My wilderness survival is a 12, by the way, including it. So, are there? I guess I have a question. Have we seen any domesticated dogs in the area, or I don't know if there are actually domesticated dogs?
Yeah, it's a farming community. I imagine that.
But I also assume that the dog has to be dead to get the tallow.
Let's see here. To be honest, I don't actually know what tallow is.
It's fat.
Animal fat.
Yeah, okay, so it has to be dead.
Yeah.
If I remember, that's what tallow is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rendered form of beef or mutton fat.
Yep.
Ta-da!
How about any non...
You want to kill a dog?
Well,
you may become the most loathed player character on the channel.
No. He's not planning to kill a dog. He's if there were a rabid dog around, that'd be great. But
you did hear. So I mean, you did hear howls in there. You if you track down wolves, I mean, you could get dog tallow that way. You'd have to sort of leave the valley.
Yeah. He's not going to know by himself. He knows how that goes.
Oh no! I was suggesting that it would be your allies who may assist with that. But that the other option is, but I mean, assuming you're not killing someone's pet, why don't?
Feral dogs.
Let's see here. I'm just going to see what the appropriate skill would be for this. Well, because I mean, I imagine there's a wise man or a wise woman of the village, and they probably have a good stock of like folk remedies and such.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be. I think it would be a persuasion or probably persuasion or maybe streetwise.
Okay.
Which does, I think I'll set the difficulty. Let me grab my DM screen. That is in there. Well, the skills are not. The difficulties are.
Gravik is untrained in either, although he would have a 9 for the.
I think you would also know that there, you have seen evidence of that at least some of the people here are prejudiced against dwarves, so they may be suffering a penalty there. Elves probably not any better, although witchers, you guys are kind of screwed here. None of your humans, none of the box standard humans are here. So I was going to put it at a 14. I'll probably with the well, so anyone other than the Witcher asking around probably is looking at a 16. The Witcher is probably looking at a 14 because of how well he's thought of right now.
What about if we offer, say, double the asking price, which is 10 gold pieces? Yeah.
You did also, part of the payment is potentially from that, so you could, take that as part of your payment.
Mm-hmm. He brings that up to the Witcher. He says, I'm not, it's like, what about if we offer more than the asking price for this stuff?
And this is for the ingredients for the oils, right?
Yes. All we need is one. So if we offered, say, 20 gold pieces, that's double the asking price usually in towns and
I
places
think the
I've seen it.
currency is Redanian crowns.
Redanian
if I remember.
crowns, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how much money we have.
Worzyism's worried about his bottom line here.
well, if
I'm definitely doing that while, what's her name? I forgot, since she's not here. The James's character.
Oh, Celine.
Celine, yeah. Selena would not be on board with this plan.
I mean, generally, the expenses of the job should be borne not out of our profits, but
True.
or else you never make any money. But
How much are we being offered for this job?
what was it, Kevin? Do you know?
I don't remember offhand. I think it was like 100 crowns cash or 200 in trade. I'll double check between now and next session. I didn't get to that point in the in last session's video.
No.
And I didn't write it down because I'm a fucking Bush League DM.
Or, yeah. Or if it's,
Well, maybe I did write it down. What did I say?
If, as you say, it's customary, we could perhaps bring it up to. I'm sorry, the name of the fellow who basically.
Well, Worzium says that that's customary. That is not the case. Yeah, you are expected to bring your tools, and if you don't have them and you need to pick them up, it ain't their problem.
Okay, got it.
That you don't,
got it.
You know, it's like a plumber showing up at your place. Hey, can I borrow a wrench?
I've had that.
I mean,
happen, but, yeah.
Not so much customary. I'm just saying that whoever's responsibility it is, if you eat through your profits every job you do, you're going to walk away with the same amount you walked in with. That's what Worzium's saying.
I believe you have stumbled across the whole existence of a Witcher.
Customs be damned. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I see. Well, that would be 1/10 of our potential earnings. We could go lower, say 15.
And it's not necessarily, when I say that it is, you're making the roll. The roll isn't necessary for you to buy it. They may turn it over.
Okay.
It may very well be. Offering to buy it is going to drive the target number down. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, they're not asking you to pay for the net right now. It's just what you're rolling for is whether it's actually available or not.
I think we just tell the head man in the same way that we asked him for the net. Like, this is the plan. You know, this is what we need. If you're able to contribute to it, it's going to improve our chances of success. So I think that's the idea.
So who wants to make that?
We think.
That would probably be you, since he now seems to like you a little better.
I mean, I guess, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty ridiculously bad. That's
Well, so mine would be a 9, because if it's streetwise, I have an intelligence of 9 and no streetwise.
How are you, Sindaith?
I think. I mean, because it would be persuasion, right, Kat?
Yeah.
Could be,
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a 13, so.
Oh, what are we even discussing here? That's
Yeah.
So for you, it'd be a 16 then, because of the bigotry of the village.
So then, why not spend luck for it
Okay.
to guarantee a success?
Heck yeah.
So let's go ahead and.
And make sure to mark the skills you guys have been using as well.
Yep. I have.
And modifier there.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yep. In fact, you get 2 doses of it.
Nice.
There's 2 doses of dog tallow that the wise woman has for you.
Okay.
So then what remains is the verbena.
And I can do the wilderness survival on that. And I assume if I fail, then somebody else could do it as well.
Depends how badly you fail. It may lead to Griffin attack.
I see. Yeah. So the other thing is, knowing that this area is not particularly nice. Knowing that this area is not particularly safe, and given that he still doesn't like shadows, he's going to ask either Worzium or Sindite to come along while he looks.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Then, Worzium, you've got training in wilderness survival, right?
I do.
Yeah, so why don't you get another +1 to yours? He'll help you out looking for this verbena.
all right, great. Nope. Man, I am fumbling shit. I started off good, not so much now.
Okay. So unfortunately, I mean, today, the net's not ready till tomorrow anyway. Maybe you can try and find the stuff tomorrow.
Yeah.
And part of the the game is not quite the breakneck pace that others are. Like, it's not like this thing's seeing Griffin attacks every single night.
Yep.
It does not. This thing may not come tonight anyway.
Yep.
So for today, you've not found it. Maybe you can also.
The woman.
Yeah. Well, you could ask her for verbena. Yeah, you could try that as well. You could also, I think, look in the mountains. That would be a little more difficult for wolf's aloe tears. Wolf's aloe leaves. It just means you'll be looking in a different location.
Okay. All right, but not today. Those are 2 options for tomorrow, and I would not be able to look in the fields tomorrow.
No, it's the way I'm choosing to roll on it. It's just like other times.
It's not there.
Well, if circumstances change, if you looked in a different field or whatever, then there would be an opportunity. But what this tells us, it's not that you missed it; it's that it's just not there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, then what do you guys intend to do with the rest of your evening? You've been supervising the construction of the net. It's going to take another day to get. They've been having to tear apart ropes and collect enough stuff and put it together. And you want it strong enough to be able to hold something as big as as that. So I imagine they're pulling apart a bunch of ropes that are used for rigging for like dragging plows and stuff like that. So it's really strong, stuff. Is there anything else you guys wish to do with your afternoon or evening? Sindite, you in particular have I don't think anything specific to occupy your time. So you would have free time. Anything you wish to do? Worzium was helping Greybeck, Dr. Greybeck, look for verbena, but
helping Dr. Greybeck fail at finding verbena.
You guys did a very comprehensive search of the field, and unfortunately, nothing in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Worzium, I think you did notice, though, that Dr. Greybeck, he was quite reluctant to get, especially later in the day as you're looking, as the shadows got deeper in the western edge of the field, he was keeping more and more of a distance from the shadows of the trees.
All right.
So, Sindite, anything you wish to do?
Can't think of anything specific that I would need to at this point.
I don't know if there's anything I'll throw out. Let's see. I don't know if you have enough time. It takes a day. I was going to say study and practice if you're really probably may not have enough time, but to study on your own certain simple skills that you have little to no skill in. It's a thought. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
From page 59. Otherwise, as far as the task, can't think of anything.
Nothing else? Okay, so that evening, you guys have the people are still, it's sort of like a group effort, or a community effort, I should say, for getting that net together. They're not going to work through the night on it, but by tomorrow afternoon they should have that entire thing together. And I guess they ask if there's anything else that you require for this.
Dr. Gravik, do we want to ask them about the ingredients?
Yeah, might as well. And then if they don't have them, we can do one last search tomorrow.
Yeah,
See if a mage will approach them on such a thing.
Yeah.
And is that what you just did? What were you asking them before, Sindaith?
It was the
Sol, yeah.
the Verbena one.
Yeah, all the Sol stuff is either poor availability or worse. So I think that in this tiny village, like the likelihood of them having that is quite low, whereas like dog tallow is common.
Yep. Well, Verbena is P. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky to find.
Yep. Okay.
You could try in the mountains tomorrow if you wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Yep.
Then there's so the evening passes relatively uneventfully. Although, you know what? Actually, why don't we do this? As you guys are bedding down, why don't we take our mid-session break? My coffee is completely and shockingly empty right now, so I need to refresh that. And then we will see if anything happens overnight.
Okay.
So we'll be back for those listening at home. We'll be back momentarily.
All right. I don't know why every time I try to mute myself, I always forget that since I have a microphone attached here, I just have to hit the button.
All right. So, when you guys awaken the next day, you find once again you're staying in that woman's home, the sort of like the separate area with her family elsewhere. Sindaith, you awaken and you're certain that you have like a fleeting recollection of having had a pretty vivid dream. I think you can give us a... Let's see here. See if we can focus your mind to remember this. We're going to put DC 18 and... I think you could use... What is the mage signature? Is it a spell casting? Is that your...
As far as like my profession skill?
Yeah.
Magic training.
Well, give us a magic training roll, please.
All right. It's not bad. All
right. You vaguely recall, because I mean, I think you know in the course of your training that sometimes dreams can be portentous. So you have a specific bit of training to focus your mind to try and like catch those fleeting glimpses. What you recall is being somewhere underground, and you recall hearing the flapping in the darkness of many, many wings. That's all you can... you were underground because of the damp and because of the utter blackness that was coming apart from the wan light coming from the tip of your staff. And you could not see what was making the sound, but there was definitely the sound of beating wings underground. But that is all you're able to snatch back as, those dreams are returning back to wherever dreams come from. Is Sindaith disturbed by that? Is that just sort of par for the course for him?
Disturbed. I don't think he's disturbed. He's definitely curious.
Okay.
And he'll probably be, I would say he'd probably be more watchful for any type of possible caves.
Okay.
That would be the one thing, just kind of in his everyday, if he happens to see one, it's definitely going to be something he'd been looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about.
Does he mention it to his allies?
No.
No, just something that he keeps to himself. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you guys will have... it's not going to be until the afternoon that the net is ready. So what would you guys like to do with your day? The town is busy getting the herd back outside of the town itself.
Well, I think Gravek would prefer to, as early as possible, so that there's no chance of there being anywhere close to evening when they're done, with lots of shadows. Go out and attempt to find the verbena in the mountains.
Can't find verbena in the mountains. That's found in fields. You could find the wolf's tears.
Wolf's tears.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Since and you said that we wouldn't be able to do verbena again because they only have...
No,
like
well, you would be able to do verbena again if you could find another potential source.
Okay.
The way I'm choosing to interpret your role is not that you failed to find the stuff that's out there, it's that there wasn't any there.
Okay.
So you just need to find different circumstances.
And there's no other fields to look through.
I mean, you could go looking for another fields, but you're in the middle of the mountains, and this one it happened to be farmlands that were cleared out, so it is ideal environment for verbena to grow.
Let's go to the mountains, and he again asks if Warzium would like to come along.
Is Sean muted?
Warzium? Are you?
Probably. Sure.
Okay, probably. All right.
Okay, and
so
Sindaith, anything you wish to do?
I mean, I could go ahead and go with them as well, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I guess.
Be much help per se, but at least I'm there in case of emergency.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
So then,
No.
for let's see here. This is a foraging DC 15 to find wolf's aloe leaves. I said wolf's tears. I don't know why I said that.
All right.
Other than to say that Wolf's Tears was my Duran Duran cover band when I was in high school. Okay, nice. All right, so, and then give us a 1d6 roll there, Greyback.
Sure.
Please.
1d6.
Nice. So you find 6 doses of wolf's aloe leaves.
Sweet. So
Okay.
we have what we need.
So, and over the course of the day, Worzium and Sindaith, would you kindly each give us an awareness check?
I'm gonna have to raise that skill.
30 from Worzium. Holy shit.
Damn.
So, Worzium, as you're looking around, through this, I think that you have the distinct feeling that you are still being observed. And you recall those birds that were following you as you guys were fleeing from the last village or making your way from the last village? It appears, and maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you, but as you're making your way through the day, through the foothill, they're not foothills, you're in the mountains, but like the higher parts of the trees, as you're navigating around this too, you find once or twice where you feel like a bird is looking right at you, and it is the same kind of black raven that you saw swarming around that village.
Well, we've got a lot of time on our hands out here. At least Sindaith and I do, depending on how much of our searching is actually needed or just keeping watch. And I will mention in that time that that there's evidence of a griffin, of course, but it's the wrong color, and the color is the color of those birds. So I don't know if there's some answer in there, but we're being observed by birds that are the color of the griffin feather we found. And that griffins aren't usually that color, but those birds are. So don't know if there's a match somewhere in there, but something to keep in mind.
Those were the same color of birds that you found in that last village too, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this creature, and of course the obvious match of it is from the air. Avians and griffins are avians of a sort. Mm-hmm. So there's that obvious match.
You maybe think for a moment of a way of dispatching this, and it does serve as a helpful reminder. You remember from back in your days of training at the Viper School, I think you seem to excel and focus on your 2-weapon melee, and your instructor says, well, what if you cannot fight up close? What is your contingency?
He's never been much of a bow guy, is the thing. Crossbow is a possibility.
And I think that's at that, if we're in our flashback, he would say, he gestured up to a fellow who tosses like a hard, beanbag down at you, and you kind of get beamed in the head, and like, what the? And this guy's up on one of the training platforms, and he says, what will you do? Oh. What is your contingency that you've come up with, Merzium?
Gosh, with a bird that can fly off, Probably try to get quickly in range to stun it to the ground, I suppose.
Well, again, if that's not a possibility, do you just not fight then? Do you die?
I mean, if I was going to be attacked, it would be get under cover.
So
don't
you
have any
flee.
ranged.
Not much of a Witcher's tactic, is it? This is your trainer saying this, not your dungeon master. You're beamed in the head once again.
I'm not going to throw my sword at it. Doesn't particularly have any...
He leans in and says, "You're paid nothing for running. You're paid nothing for hiding. Think on this, Warzium." And you gesture.
Paid nothing for dying, whatever his name is.
Then you best learn to kill. So you're perhaps Warzium strikes me as a fairly stubborn character. So perhaps that's something you've been, you've not been thinking about because you really haven't had to deal with that for the last little while. But now facing a flying adversary, you are once again confronted with your old master's teachings of like, fuck. What are you going to do?
I mean, that's what we're dealing with is how to ground it. So,
but if you cannot, you have one net to rely on, and if either the net fails or if the net tears, what is your contingency then?
The contingency is the mage will be trying to set it on fire. I will be trying to stun it, and
your stun range, you said, is what?
Oh, it's going to be while it's all going to be simultaneous. So it's going to be while it's as close to the ground as possible.
All of your plans, and this is your master's voice you hear again, rely on your first plan working.
No question. We don't.
If it does not,
after a great deal of thought, we have come up with nothing better. So unfortunately, that is the case. We don't have any other. I mean, and the doctor, firing a bow at it. It's not going to ground it though.
Let me read you what your Witcher's training would tell you. Griffins are technically very simple creatures. They operate a lot like a combination between the two beasts that make them up, lions and eagles. Unfortunately, combining lions and eagles effectively creates a super predator. Griffins are fast on the ground and fast in the sky. They can cross large areas of difficult terrain by flying over it and spot prey with eagle eyes. That doesn't even take into account how they pick up prey the size of a horse and drop it from 100 meters in the air. Luckily, griffins mostly just attack intruders in their territory. The problem is that with war leaving corpses all over the open fields and valleys, griffins are moving into their territories from the high mountains to the low peaks and foothills. Suddenly, small villages at the foot of mountains are in a griffin's territory without even realizing it. If you have to fight a griffin, do yourself a favor and stock up on ranged ammunition and hybrid oil. You'll need the ammunition because griffins like to attack from the air, swooping down on their opponents. A direct hit with a crossbow bolt, spear, arrow, or other ranged weapon forces the griffin to readjust in the air. If it fails, it will plummet to the ground, taking falling damage and be more vulnerable. On the ground, you have to watch out for the griffin's razor-sharp claws. Not only will they tear you open and leave vast bleeding wounds, if you get too far from a griffin, it'll close distance with a charge, a tremendously powerful but inaccurate attack. Easier to dodge than normal claw attacks, but a hit will spell doom for the average man. The last thing you'll want to watch for, and this is a typical griffin, is a griffin's sonic cry. Fail to resist that, and you'll be a sitting duck.
So, at the
So what
very
I
least,
hear you saying is there's a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
so we get some of the hybrid oil on my bolts, and if we have, but are either of you any good with any? I mean, obviously, Sindite is good with ranged spell casting.
Yeah.
How about you, Warsium? Any ranged weaponry?
Negative.
Okay, and so, by the way, did Warsium relate any of this or all of this to us, I assume.
I'm assuming he's been sharing this, information. Is that right, John?
Yeah, idle talk throughout the day. I mean, we got hours out there, so he's just he's musing, looking at the birds.
Yeah. Then I think, and he says, well, we have two possibilities. One, if we kind of stay in that thicketed area, and in other words, if we're running into problems, we can't fight it. We can stay in the thicker area, and it has to come down if it wants to attack us. Otherwise, it will fly off, probably back to its home. And it sounds like its home would be relatively close, so we could see the direction it's going and then try to track it.
So
Track it back to its lair.
if you are planning on springing the trap in the midst of thicket, as Werzium said, how do you intend to be able to see where it goes if it flies away? I'm not saying it's impossible. You will need to.
It will be night. It will be night.
Be night as well. So
yeah.
I guess we could see about ranged people who can fire a bow in town. I mean, if it's if that would, I wasn't really thinking that would ground it as well, but if it does, then if it's getting, I mean, if we can wound it to the ground, then
you guys will have to rely on yourselves for this. They are not. They're happy to give up.
I mean, I've got a bow. I mean, I can shoot a bow, but I don't think that's really gonna. I don't think that's gonna really win the battle, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But I mean, is it our? Just from what was read there, I was just trying to take out what I could.
No.
I mean, I would think casting it a flame, which you're probably better at. That was my original thinking, that's more useful than an arrow.
Right.
It's on fire.
What is the range of your firebolt spell, whatever it's called?
Hold on a second. 12 meters. And then the bow, I think I've got the range listed somewhere.
I mean, I guess it's handy to keep a bow handy, so it, at some point...
Longbow has a range of 200 meters.
Yeah, I've got a short bow. It's 100 meters. So.
100 meters.
So keep that it on fire first and then switch to the bow.
Yeah, and presumably it won't all go perfectly, and so it gets outside of the range of your magic, and then, you've got a bow. That's helpful. That's not terrible. That's makes sense. I mean, Werzium could do the same. He's not particularly good with a bow, but he could have one, and we'd want to be undercover. We'd have to talk about it to see. Standing there firing at it, I don't know, because the thing is, if it's stubborn enough that it won't retreat, then let's presume it. If we don't get it grounded, and because if we do get it grounded, obviously we just attack and try to finish it. But if we don't get it grounded, then and it flies off, there's not much to be done about that. So we're going to have to reconvene, I think, in that case. But let's say it doesn't retreat and decides to take us out, which would be helpful to us in that sense. Whether we want to just stand our ground or whether we want some kind of cover to protect ourselves from its dive bombing while we're trying to hit it with an arrow, in at least a sub-ideal attempt to ground it with an arrow. Something to think about when we're doing our preparations of our actual ambush area. If there's some area that we can target, that we can know of, to run to that area, that would make it harder for it to dive bomb at us while we're firing arrows at it. So something to consider when we're doing preparations of our ambush area.
Okay.
But we will maybe we ask you said you have a bow, Sendai?
Yes, I do. So
okay. You have your own bow, and of course, and Dwarf, you have your own crossbow, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
I do not have a bow. I suppose it would make sense for me to have one for this occasion.
Okay. I think you could find a short bow that they will loan you in town.
Yeah, that was mine.
And I'll say 10 arrows. Oh, actually, you could get a longbow in town too. So the availability for a short bow or short bow and longbow are everywhere, and a war bow is common. So everywhere is even the smallest town. So if you would prefer a longbow, you can take that instead. The advantage is it does a little bit more damage.
Yeah.
And a much better range, 200-meter range.
Borrow a bow, borrow a longbow.
Okay.
And see if we can get maybe some arrows for it. How are you guys, and Doctor? You guys have arrows?
I could use a stock up on bolts if they have crossbow.
Okay, let's check the availability of it here.
Yeah, I might want to get some more.
So,
I don't know if I'll fire that.
And take a look at the ammunition on page 74. Because there's a difference between standard ammo, blunt, broadhead, and bodkin arrows. Because like broadhead arrows have 100% bleeding effect on them. And bodkin have armor piercing as a quality.
Do they know of these arrows in town?
They're listed as common. I think the standard arrows are absolutely there. I think the broadhead would also be there, and the blunt, because blunt would be taking down small prey.
Yeah.
Right. You want to break the neck of squirrels or whatever. That's what you would use. I don't think the bodkins would be there. That's the only thing that wouldn't, just because that's more of a war, arrow.
It's interesting that that's only one broadhead for 10. Okay. That's expensive. How are you at archery, Sindai? I'm just trying to figure out who
I think I've got
spend their money on.
I think I've got a 12 or 13. Let me look.
That's probably better.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So you probably
archery is a dexterity-based skill.
Yeah.
You're saying
I'm at 12
total. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me.
Whereas your dexterity is quite good too, isn't it?
It's reasonable. I'm a combined 7 for a bow.
Oh. Yeah, that's really not.
Mine is only 9.
Okay.
So
I thought your dexterity was better, Werzium.
Are you taunting me, GM?
No, I generally thought your skills were...
His dexterity is a 7.
A 7, okay. And you got no training in archery?
Right.
Okay.
As evidenced by the flashback.
Damn it. You're great at receiving beanbags.
Yeah.
Well, if the crows drop beanbags on me, you can throw the beanbag back. But
don't worry, they'll run out of beanbags soon. Our strategy is sound.
And therefore, if the griffin drops Gravek, he could throw Gravek at the griffin.
There's be inventive new ways for Gravek to nearly die.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I think you guys will get as many standard arrows as you're willing to carry. Do we have to pay
do we have to pay for those, or
no, not for those. The broadheads you will have to pay for, but they will come out of your whatever.
Okay. Gravek's not going to spend it on that. He doesn't feel that he's good enough to. The cost to benefit ratio is probably not benefiting the party.
So I will leave it to you guys to select that. So what is? I guess you'll need time to craft that hybrid oil. Mm-hmm. Do we know how long it takes to make the oils? I think we've made this before. I just don't remember offhand how long. Here we go. Blade oils. Blade oils last for 30 minutes. And okay, so you got your thing. There we go. Crafting time. Hybrid oil, 15 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a craft DC of 16. So, who would like to make the hybrid oil? And how many, Gravik, how many, you're the kind of quartermaster for the alchemical stuff. How many doses can you make of it?
I think only, unfortunately, probably only one. That was,
Oh, no.
yeah.
Okay.
Just because I had one of the other two items, so I guess if we wanted to wait one more day, we could try to get the other, or would we be able to, yeah, because they're different areas.
What is it that you're short of?
We are short of, well, let me just roll back up. It's easier to try to find that out. I have one of Rebus and, no, that's the characters. I have two of Rebus and one of Quiver, so that's the one that we're short of.
Okay.
We want more than one dose.
All right.
Quiver is...
So ducal water is a common thing found in mountains and underground.
Okay.
Fool's parsley can be found. Ducal water is found in increments of 1d10. Fool's parsley is found in increments of 2d6. I'm looking at page 144.
Yep, I got it.
Balsay,
So
or
we have-
Belize leaves, likewise found in fields.
Yeah, honeysuckle's also
Yep.
found in, but so when he was in the fields, would he be able to look for multiple?
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same
You just
time?
didn't. You didn't. There was no verbena to find there, but you weren't looking for
Okay.
anything else. So if you wanted to spend your afternoon looking around in the field to see if you could find, what is it you're looking for?
I guess in this case, fool's parsley. That's going to be the easier one to find.
Yep.
So
Yep. So it's a forge DC of 10. It gives a wilderness survival of 10.
now I'm just saying something. I really gotta get myself a good code for this thing. A mouse. My the buttons keep sticking on the pad, and I always forget until I do this. So here we go. Wilderness.
Yep. DC
there it
10.
is. DC 10. Now,
There you go. Give us a 2d6 roll, please.
what's that one? So
8.
that's 8. Okay.
So 8 units of Kebrith.
Yep. And the other one that I was a little low on was Rebus. That's with 2. Hey, there's also hand fiber in the fields, but that's a P.
I think what you've collected today is about all you can do. You could try again tomorrow if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, if we're willing to wait one more day, I can try to find, looks like Celandine, which is found in fields and forests. Are we willing to wait one more day?
And so at this point, we would only have one dose. Is that correct?
We would have 2 doses, assuming that the that the alchemy goes smoothly.
2 doses. And that would be enough for, let's see.
Sword and 1 arrow.
Each lasts for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the arrow is, so a single arrow then.
Yes.
It would grant plus 5 damage against hybrids.
Arrow's a rough use because obviously you have to hit it. It's only good once. Where on a melee weapon, it's good for 30 minutes of extra damage. So it's a tough choice. But
So one thing, just a comment in general. The comment about taking it out of the air. This is a neat thing, just to have a peer behind the curtain. When something takes damage, and like when a griffin takes damage and it's in the air, it actually needs to make an athletics check or it falls.
Oh.
So like there is a clear mechanical link between the narrative and the mechanics of it. So I like that a great deal, that it gives you some flavorful insight into the mechanics of stuff. So pecking away at the thing may cause it to drop out of the sky, take damage from that, and then you could really, go to town on it.
Yep. Very good. Well, let's see how your work goes, Dwarf, and then we can
reevaluate. Okay.
reevaluate.
Okay.
So he will attempt to make 2 doses of it.
Okay, and the crafting DC for that is 36. What the fuck?
Actually, though, Worsian probably has. Oh, well, he has the recipe. So as long as
you'll be the one working to make it. You're the one who has the recipe for it.
Yeah.
So you need a alchemy check at DC for hybrid oil, DC 16.
If he has the recipe, it says that you get a +2 for that.
If he has the recipe on hand,
Paper.
which he does not have. He knows it,
Okay.
but he doesn't have
Got it.
written paper.
And if Gravek is attempting to assist in any way with that,
I'll give him
a
+1.
modifier. Okay. Gravek will assist.
All right.
And remember luck.
It doesn't. I wouldn't be able to explain it to him, would I? Since he's so much better at alchemy.
No.
All right. All right then. Let's see.
I remember your luck.
I guess that is the only alchemy. I guess we use the rest.
So you're getting +1 to this from Gravik assisting as well.
All right, and I used 4 luck.
Okay. Go, come on, big money.
There we go.
Nice. All right. So you've made 1 dose. 1 more roll, please. I think because you got enough to make 2 right now.
Yes. And it's still with a +1.
All right.
And make sure to put a tick next to your alchemy.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Nice.
Wow.
Excellent. 2 doses. So you have 2 doses of hybrid oil now.
I really like the alchemy system. If you had told me that I'd be as interested in going out and foraging and trying to find the stuff, but
That's great to hear. That's kind of what I was hoping would come from it.
Yep.
Like it seemed like it would be interesting in that way, and particularly if you've got a character who excels at that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Okay, so I'll remove those.
I think your
from
DM just
mine.
needs to give you more access to or opportunities to get recipes. Then.
Yeah. Well, my problem is I need more money. It's nothing to do with.
We need more money. We need more.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So then.
So 2 doses of the hybrid.
Yeah,
we have.
half hour of work, and you've got yourself 2 doses of the hybrid oil. Okay. So, what are you guys doing this evening? You've got the net together. You have 2 doses of hybrid oil.
The net, 2 doses of hybrid. So the question is whether we should take another day to get more doses. We're at that place, at that decision.
Yeah.
Let me throw one more, piece of meat for you to chew over here. When the hunter was taken down, what was the way by which he was taken down from the blind?
From behind.
Do you think that he likely tried to hide himself?
I would think so.
So
spotted him from the sky.
So this thing seems to have claimed him either before grabbing the bait, or somehow he wasn't moved from that perch and was attacked up there.
Mm-hmm.
How does that shape your strategy for facing this thing?
Hide better.
Problem is,
Hide better. Truly, Doctor, you are a master tactician.
Yes. Yes.
probably need to be pretty close to bring our main initial attempts. Unless we want to change that. I mean, you'd have to be within 12 meters, Mage. I would need to be closer, and to try to also perhaps cast it on fire or stun it. We could change that plan and all just fire arrows from a farther distance. Because of its, I suppose if we were so close, like I might not. There's a possibility that it goes after us rather than the prey, rather than the bait.
Well, maybe the Witcher is an alternate bait with the rest of us. In other words, we know you have to get close. Make sure we're a little further away and hopefully more well hidden. If you get a good swing on it with your sword and the hybrid oil, that could even knock it down. And then 36 meters away, but the problem then is if it spots Sindai and goes after him, then he's left alone, basically.
My range is 8 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more reach.
At least if it comes in at the mage, he can hit it maybe before it gets to him. If he comes after me, I think I better be near the mage.
It could be advantageous for us to be in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Because for example, if that's possible, because if it does, for example, go after the mage, then at least the rest, then the Warzium can attack it with the swords.
Yep.
Versus if we're spread out, and not together.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Unless
could.
it does have a sonic blast.
I'm not sure what to do about that. Unless we, I don't know, plugging our ears would be. Do I have any knowledge about this, Kevin? Its attack. Is it more magical or is it audio? It sounds audio.
So for a typical griffin, yeah, it's definitely it is a screech, and it may make it easier if you're plugging your ears of some kind. But the thing is, I don't think have you heard anyone talk about a screech yet?
No.
They didn't seem to even know it was a bird, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it might not have needed a screech to take down a cow is the thing. So we could talk. We could ask the villagers and make sure. Well, I'll ask the villagers. Did anyone heard of any noises? Any crazy?
No. No screeches during the attacks. Like the only reason they knew the attacks had occurred was because of the following day, finding them either missing or the grisly, remains of whatever is behind. And more to the point, they haven't heard you're going to hear the odd time, you're going to hear birds of prey in the mountains, but they haven't heard anything that sounded unnatural in all the months since they've started having problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a straightforward griffin. The information suggests, but definitely not determinative because, it probably didn't need a screech to kill a cow. So the notion that could it screech? It could screech. We'll have to deal with it as it comes. And
it's super easy to kill a cow. Watch.
No screech needed.
Yeah, exactly. No screeching whatsoever.
Nope. So and didn't look like it really needed it. I mean, the most likely would have been when it went after the hunter, but it didn't seem to have too much trouble with the single foe like that anyway. But we'll just have to find. We'll just have to deal with it if it comes. But in any case, let's.
And are we saving the second dose for the hybrid oil for if that runs out, or if you want to give Sindite an arrow.
Well, it won't run out. I mean, if we're not going to be battling it for 30 minutes, so we'll presume that won't be an issue. It'll be for another weapon. It's just a matter of whether it it doesn't make any sense for you guys to have it on a melee, for you two to have it on a melee weapon. And did we? I think I had this somewhere. Did we determine that griffins? Did I know, Kevin, if griffins are vulnerable to silver?
If they are hybrids, then no, they are. Yeah. They're living creatures. Silver, generally speaking, is only things of cursed or sometimes spirits.
Okay.
So good old-fashioned steel would be a good thing.
That's right.
Yeah, you will. You're Viper School, so you could be using those 2 doses, one on each sword.
Yeah.
Probably. That probably makes the most sense versus an arrow. The one-time arrow, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So then we can picture you guys are sitting around, that small cramped room where, it's the evening. You've got your blade oil together. You've got your net together now. You're enjoying your early dinner. You've got a little table with some little maybe kids' toys or little piece pawns from some kind of game set. And you're setting them around, try to plan what your attack is going to be here now. So let's figure out precisely where you're going to be and how you're going to try and spring this trap. So, where will this be occurring? Is it going to be, as you said, deeper into the woods with the cow there, the net down on the ground, ready to spring up and capture the cow and the griffin?
I think that's the idea.
Okay. And where would you guys be in relation to that?
Yeah, I think we should be together. Question is whether we should be closer, whether we should be within the 8 meters, whether we should be approximately about 8 meters, or we should rely on bows from farther.
Let me ask you this. Based on what you learned or your Witcher training told you about griffins, how do you think they hunt?
From the air. Griffins during the day from the air.
Okay. And what senses do you think they take advantage of?
I would think mainly sight from the air.
Okay.
This one's coming
trying to spot something over long distances. What's that?
Well, this one's coming at night. Obviously some animals can see pretty well at night, but also animals tend to have a pretty good sense of smell, but I'm not sure if birds in general do, and since that's the part that would be more bird-like, maybe not. Probably good hearing.
Well, again, the Witcher training, I think, gives you some insight as to how they hunt. What was mentioned in that?
Eagle eyes, mainly.
So the reason I wanted to draw your attention to that is the ways that you're going to take to remain unobserved or unnoticed by the griffin. If you take advantage of, if you're mindful, I suppose, of how it hunts and how it tracks its prey, that might give you some benefit in strategizing how to remain undetected.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys plan on?
Go ahead.
How do you guys plan on hiding yourselves? Where do you, from what Warzim said, you want to be all together?
Mm-hmm. So maybe dig a.
Yeah.
Actually, that works pretty well, right? Because if you dig kind of a ditch low enough, it would also be harder for it to grab on a first. If it saw us, it would. Yeah. And,
it would seem like some kind of. We could dig a trench.
Yep, with a cover over it, and the same idea that Sindite had, which is then cover it with leaves and detritus and whatnot. With just just a couple of locations where we can look through.
Yeah, so we will. I think it's a good idea. So, digging a trench and using a cover of some kind of.
What cover are you thinking here?
Well, if we do like a tarp type thing over it, and then cover it with leaves and grass and whatnot in the area, to match the ground as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess we should we, given that we're trying to capture with a net, do we want to use fire against it initially or no? Make that decision now.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask. Let me think about that for a second. If
problem is, like, when you start swinging at it too, you'll likely be cutting pieces of the net. So if we hit it hard enough at the beginning and stun it, it's not going to be able to get back off the ground. Gravik is all for hitting it as hard as we can and trying to just keep it down. The net keeps it from then immediately going back up if we fail.
Oh, I'll be right back, guys. My IKEA thing is here. I'll let you guys keep playing.
Okay.
I'll be right back momentarily.
Do you have any non-flame mage?
as far as spells go, I don't. As far as offensive spells go, no. That's my main offensive spell.
Yep. Well, I mean, maybe we just don't worry about it. I mean, you know, if we get it tangled and grounded, I think there's an argument to be made that you just give it everything you got.
Yeah.
At that point, so maybe we do. I just, I wanted to discuss it first, but maybe we do.
No. It's worth discussing.
Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe we just bring our best to bear, no matter what it is. Net be damned.
Right.
At that point we just go.
Yeah, it's go.
Obviously, because the net won't. I mean, yeah, the net won't.
Sorry about that, guys.
It won't incinerate. It'll catch on fire, and obviously it's not helpful to it, but it won't. It won't incinerate in seconds, so it'll still be around. And in fact, it gives one more burning thing against the creature. Who knows? Maybe on a fire basis, it'll even be minorly helpful momentarily, even as the rope burns, obviously weakens. Okay, all right. So I think we're going to do that. So we're going to dig. We're going to dig a trench within. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
What is Worthing going to do? I guess, he will, within 8 meters away. And
Okay.
And we're going to use a kind of some kind of leather tarp. I would imagine it'd be leather.
Or
and
burlap.
cover,
Yeah.
whatever exists in these days. I was trying to think of, not in the age.
Not nylon.
Sure. Right. Plastic. Yeah. I was trying to make, and cover, lots of leaves and what else? And get the net ready. See what we can do about that. Yeah, the net and the propulsion system. Working on that. That may take some doing, and then digging the trench in the appropriate place, and then be ready for it, and then getting obviously a cattle in the middle, one cow, and waiting for it in the trench.
Okay. Tell me about this trench. What are you picturing here?
It's beautiful. It's huge and it's luxurious.
It's a wonderful trench. World class trench.
We can walk around in it. And,
It's going to cost the villagers all the money they have.
More to the point, what I'm trying to picture is is it just a hole you're digging that's going to be able to fit just the three of you in there with the? Well, I'm assuming that Celine will be back next week. That it'll be four of you in there if it takes till next week. Then you have this thing over, and then you have to kind of pull yourself out, or are you picturing a way to get yourself out faster? Like the reason I'm asking is because I want to, but when we, when or if this plan works out, I want to make sure you guys have. I'm not being unfair in my assessment. How long it's going to take you to get out, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think hop out, right? Like probably it's steep as we have to be in there. We have to be in there for a while, so it can't be. I don't think it can be waist height. It's going to have to be bigger than that because we're going to be in there for if it was 10 minutes maybe, but we might be in there for hours. Mm-hmm. So
and potentially consecutive nights as well.
Right.
Not that you'll be in there all the time, but like night,
Yeah.
We could be weeks.
This is our home now.
Yeah. Selena and Werzium stuck together in a trench.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I guess shoulder, like something shoulderish. I mean, because we do have to be able to hop out quickly, so we don't want to get too deep here. But waist doesn't seem enough. It seems like shoulder would be a reasonable compromise to be able to be in there.
When we say shoulder, do we mean human and elf shoulder, or do we mean dwarf shoulder? Because you do have someone who is vertically challenged here.
There could be a little stool underneath.
Yeah, I was thinking that's not a ridiculous thought.
No, it's not. I mean, and what I know of defensive embankments and such, I mean, basically the what I would call, I guess, berm, for lack of a better word, but that elevated area is going to be the dirt you excavated. So you're going to stand in the hole, but you're going to have some cover from the dirt you excavated because that's what's going to be in front of you. So I mean, that same thing with the dwarf. Instead of it being a hole that's a straight line, you bow it a little.
Yeah.
And so that bowed area up here towards the ends, that's where the dwarf can be at the same level as those who are taller in the middle.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
And with sticks and whatnot, like you could shore up the one side so it's not all just falling down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let me throw one more spanner in the works here. Weather. Any plans to account for any weather conditions?
We're not rolling for weather. Weather is fine.
Oh, yes, we are. You missed last week. I believe Sean got to be our resident Dave for the week because he rolled an awful weather condition for us.
Yes.
Dave rolls weather
in that trench.
Yeah, Dave rolls the weather in both of our AD&D or Castles and Crusades games, and routinely saves his nat 20s for when we're rolling weather. All right. So you got a plan. So then, this is, again, like we're sitting around the table. You guys are planning this stuff out 8 meters away. You guys are going to be able to jump out and hopefully get into combat with this thing. If the net is doing the kind of like predator style thing where it's going to grab this thing and pull it up, are you concerned that it's going to be in the air and you're not going to be able to reach it, Werzium? Or are you just waiting until the spells and the arrows run out and then deal with this thing on the ground?
I mean, I guess we could be closer. I guess it would make sense maybe to be a little closer. That way, giving us, as it, because presumably.
Sorry, maybe I'm not making clear. What I'm saying more is the way you guys have described the net going up. It's going to grab this thing and pull it up in the air. That will be difficult for you to use your swords on then.
Yeah, well, even the magic, or at least from Werzium's point of view.
I don't think it'll be higher than 8 meters off the ground.
No, the magic will probably work out fine.
Yeah.
Well, my magic's 8 meters, but that would be on the ground. It'd be 8 meters. So if it leaves the ground, it'll be farther than 8 meters. Is Werzium's issue?
Okay.
Well, I figure if we get it in the net and if the net works as advertised, okay.
Yeah.
I figured the next step would be charge. Get up out of the trench, head to the around the base of the tree where the net is.
Yep.
To do our distance attacks on it. Then, of course, if it gets free, then we're closer, and then we can engage in melee. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Am I explaining that good?
Yep, makes sense
Sean,
to me.
you look puzzled.
What about you guys for the?
I'm just debating on whether we should do immediate grounding attacks. Like alternatively, as soon as it hits the net, you would let loose with fire from the trench, maybe. So we throw off the tarp, let loose with fire, and then Werzium tries to hit it with the stun, like immediately, all from a grounding attack standpoint, and then the dwarf hits it with a bolt. That'd be the alternative, to see if we can get it better grounded in an initial flurry. But I'm not sure what's better. But that's the alternative. And in that case, I was thinking that maybe it'd be better to be like 5 meters away, to make sure that it does not climb higher than the Witcher can hit it with his sign from a Pythagorean theorem 8 meters away. from a not yet discovered, or perhaps, in the king's wise people, maybe they actually undoubtedly do. They build things, so they're probably gonna have some form of that anyway. But anyway, to get a little closer to account for height as it struggles, undoubtedly. So what do you think between immediate grounding attacks from the trench?
Oh yeah, I mean, if we can hit it when it lands, sure.
Yeah.
Like it hits that net, the net springs, and that's our trigger. Right. Then we throw the tarp off. You hit it with fire. I hit it with the stun. Dwarf hits it with a bolt from the trench.
The fire doesn't screw up the net.
Yeah, I mean, it will. It's just a matter of how long, right? So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that the net, it's a net, no pun intended, it's a net positive that the net's getting hit by fire, but so is the griffin, and it's worth it at that point. Is the bet, is the wager there? I'm not positive, but
yeah.
Sounds
what do you
good.
And that versus what you offered before, which was as soon as it hits the net, we all jump out and close distance.
Yep.
Which has its own benefits, its own. What do we think between those two?
I like the newer option, hitting it with everything we have from the trench, and then closing. And I say we should do this so that we make sure that we get the mage. If for some reason Will can't make the next session, we're screwed.
Yeah, and I think right after that, that's worth even the no
Are you
charge.
saying that Selena's throwing daggers are not going to be a suitable replacement?
Oh, I don't know, man. The last game we played, she was vicious.
Oh yeah,
She
took out that one werewolf's eye, and
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I may have to throw her at the thing, get her a little closer. Yeah.
Somewhere in the south of Greece, James has a chill come across him despite the balmy weather.
Get her, girl. Get it, girl.
Imagines a giant throwing him in the air.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys have a plan. Then, to put this plan into effect, it does sound like you will need to dig a trench. So you can do that tonight, but you may be leaving yourselves out as bait for it, or you may wait till tomorrow, go and prepare the net tomorrow, and then spring your trap the evening after.
I think we wait till tomorrow. I mean, there's not an urgency to require the risk, so I think it makes just as much sense to do it tomorrow.
Okay. Then, with the, let's see here. If there's nothing else you guys are doing this evening, you have access to, I mean, it's modest local made beer, but you'd have beer tonight.
Pre-battle drinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Sindaith, would you kindly give us another mage training check, please?
Woo.
Nice.
Okay. When morning comes, it is the same dream, but this time you can see there are the reflections of dozens of pairs of black eyes in the darkness with those flapping wings. What do you guys wish to do with your day?
We get lunch.
So we'll not require all of you. Grevik, if you did want to go looking for those replacement herbs, you could do that with your day as well.
Sure.
Okay. And so then Sindaith and Nicholas's son and Werzium, you guys could take care of the trench for today.
Yep.
And are you planning on setting the net up tonight as well? Or today?
Yeah, I think we're preparing the ambush site today, just in general. So
I think that'll take your day.
net.
You'll be able to get everything you need for it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Predator has taught me anything, it only takes about 5 minutes to set all that stuff up. So
This is true.
you know. Although you guys do need some
Training
pretty kick-ass militaristic score playing in the background.
Oh,
Do you guys
yeah.
have access to check your equipment
Face
lists?
paint too. Face paint.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta.
Exactly.
Get
Cut
that
yourself
stuff
with a
on.
knife.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So then, with what do you call it? With you guys going out, then Greyback, what is the DC for?
Let's see.
You're
The
looking
low
for?
one that he's got is now Rebus. That's we have lunar shards. That's fine.
It's which story? Yeah, I think it just could be my mic or my poor hearing, Robert. But you're trailing off a bit, so I'm hearing like muttering more than anything.
Okay. Sorry. So it's Rebus that he's now low on.
Okay.
I mean, there's other stuff you can look for. So, but
Is Rebus the only thing you need to make another dose?
yes.
Okay. Rebus. Yeah, Celandine is in fields and forests.
Okay.
Hand fiber is found in fields and forests. The Celandine is more common at lower DC, and it gives you potentially more units.
Okay. It also looks like he needs Bulger. I think that was something that we needed for that because he's down to 0 of that as well now. Yeah, that was
Okay.
the dog tallow.
Oh yeah, it's that dog tallow. Oh, you don't have any dog tallow left?
No.
Okay, so you may not. You can certainly, if there's something you want to look for, that's great. But maybe plan it based on something other than the beast oil or the hybrid oil, because you can't make that anyway.
Yeah. Let's just for now. Let's get some more Rebus since
Okay,
that's
sure.
that's
So
relatively easy
give
to
us
get.
a wilderness survival check, please.
Sure. Those. This time, nobody coming along, so no modifier.
Yeah, just yourself.
Okay, and this is when the 3 griffins come down.
Nice. Okay. Sean, would you give us a D20 roll, please?
All right.
How many are these? D10 or 2D6?
The weather is fine. A little
Okay.
overcast today, but the weather is perfectly fine. So, good trench digging weather. Let's have, who would like to make the craft roll for setting up the ambush site?
What's your craft look like, Will?
Yeah, that's what I'm slipping over to. Oh,
Mine.
yeah. Yeah, I've only got a 7.
That beats me. You're the crafter.
So, DC for this, I think, is just going to be 14. So you can spend luck
Actually,
accordingly.
the doctor would have a 10.
You're not there. Are you?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're-
no, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, then let's.
You can be the backseat trench digger.
Yeah.
I guess I could burn the rest of my luck to make sure it comes off okay.
Not terrible call. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
where the ambush site.
So let's see. Craft. There it is. And I added 4.
There we go. Oh! So, your day's effort, you do have Werzium assisting you, which will give you a +1, so that would get you to the 14.
Nice.
So, with a full day of digging and getting the thing set up, it is not pretty. It is the trench and the setting up of the net are bare bones functional. There's nothing flashy or whatever else about them, but you've got everything set up now, so you are ready for the ambush.
And if griffins could dig, they would dig right under the wall. I mean, trench.
So, your day is exhausting, but it is time well spent. Gravek, would you give us an awareness check, please?
Sure.
See if we can spot the Shadow Fang Dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no Shadow Fang Dragon. What are you talking about?
No, there's not.
Rumors of Shadow Fang Dragons are highly suspect. Okay. So, Gravik, you can picture that you're out in, this, I'm knocking fucking cords aside, you're out in the field, maybe at one end and diligently collecting all this stuff. You're coming back later in the afternoon, having collected enough to make up however many doses. Did we roll how many doses you got?
I just did. It was 2.
2 doses, okay. So, you got your 2 doses as you're coming back, and what you can see coming from the northern side of it, like through the clearing and towards the little ford in the river that's been built up, there are 4 riders, one of which is wearing pretty ornate black plate mail. And there is a marking. They wear a tabard that has a marking of 2 lightning bolts on it, and I need to show you the illustration so it doesn't sound like the SS.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, that's kind of the first thought. I was like, oh, I know these guys.
I know. As soon as I saw the symbol, and I'm like, man, I gotta really make sure I have this on hand. This is the symbol. Let me try to make sure I cover up the name so you can't see it. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Also looks a little like a frog. I don't know, frog.
Yeah, frog, bug, something like that.
Much less obviously runic Nazi crap. What you could do is give us an education check if you like.
Sure.
DC in this one is going to be, I think, a 14 because of factors.
Okay.
So just an average check here.
First of all, let me check that off so that I know that I used it.
I think it's when you use it successfully.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there you go. There you go. Yep. You knew it. Yep. You knew it.
Yep.
Doctor is both a trench digger and a prognosticator and a physician. So what you know, this is the sigil of a human god named Creve. Creve, also known as the Forefather, is considered by the Nordlings to be the Skyfather to Melitele's Earth Mother. In a way, there's 2 sides of the same coin. The reason this is known to you is because the Church of Creve is also kind of responsible for a splinter and more radical church called the Church of the Eternal Fire, which has gained prominence in the south in Redania. And they're the ones who carried out the pogrom against the elves there.
Okay.
So this guy is writing down the markings that he has. The Church of the Eternal Fire, that symbol is different. That is that symbol there.
Okay.
So
right.
That is definitely not on here, but this is like an associate faith. And you remember, or you may recall, that the Duke's brother, he rode off on a crusade as a crusader for Creve, and then apparently died on that. And he was joining in with the Eternal Fire. So there is some bleeding of followers from the northern faith of Creve to the Church of the Eternal Fire, neither of which are going to be super keen to see non-humans. At least that's your understanding of it. So we see you kind of walking along this black armored knight is riding down with 4. They're still wearing armor. Let me show you. Actually, I've got illustrations, I believe. let's see here. Do I have handouts? I'll make handouts. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Holy smokes. It's almost like we're playing an actual prepped RPG. Crazy stuff. Okay. Now, where are they? Where are they? Oh, they're right around here. Here we go.
Greyback probably has exactly the same look that he does in his, what do you call it?
Yeah. I think he wears that look fairly often from whenever.
Yes.
Okay.
Gosh, shit.
So the footmen, where did I put them? I was looking at them a moment ago. And they're not, sorry, I'm calling them footmen. They are on horses, but the men-at-arms maybe is the word I'm looking for. They don't seem to be knights because they do not have tabards. And they are not. They are not. They seem to be all dressed effectively the same and are following behind their master. And where are they? Where are they? There they are. Okay. So here are what the men-at-arms look like. Guys. Okay. And then the knight, you see maybe after, as he sees the Hamlet takes his helmet off, and you see this. Where is he? I will say for our short-lived Rollmaster game that we played, I loaded just a ton of super fucking cool images for that campaign. Here we go. This is what the gentleman looks like. So, what do you do, Greyback?
So he sees them riding towards the village.
Yeah.
Are they coming towards him, or is it more like they're?
You're sort of in the field, and you're also quite low. So, and it's the field is quite overgrown. So I imagine like if you wanted to try and hide, they don't seem to have spotted you yet. And if you wanted to hide, it would be.
Yeah, he's going to hide for the moment, and then once they passed or gone to the village, he's not going back to the village. He's going towards where him and some dice are.
Sure. So you know the spot that was hired, and actually you're quite good at wilderness survival. So it's perhaps like right around the time when you guys have finished up your preparations, when Dr. Greyback comes running in, panting.
Yeah, wild-eyed again. As always. It's like Knights of Creve, or men of the religion Creve are going into the village.
Sindaith and Worsim, you can each give us another education check if you'd like.
And he of course tells the number of what he saw.
Yeah. This one will be a 15 or 16, I think. There you go. So Sindaith, you're familiar with this. There is an order called the Knights of the Forefather that are all devotees of Creve. And one of the things that I did not mention, and you would be aware of, Creve's priesthood, as well as their lay orders, they stand against monsters and evildoers that would threaten their flock, and the dangerous nature of the continent has led to them to take up swords against a great number of different threats over the years. Where witchers, are often a great resource against the things that would prey on humankind, the things from the dark. The priesthood of Creve also sort of fills that role in a different way, at least for their flock. So if you're thinking of like the Siegfried-esque monster hunting knights, that's sort of what the Knights of the Forefather do.
So these guys might actually be useful.
And you bring that up, Sindaith?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if maybe, without talking to them, it could be random, but then again, they could have heard about the the monster praying here as well and be already inclined to pursuing that.
They have issues with non-human, though. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably.
The Church of Creve itself, Sindaith, you would know, there aren't any doctrines in there that specifically demonize non-humans. That said, you know, the continent is a very challenging place for non-humans to live. And if they choose to see elves or dwarves or, you know, werebubs or vrans as threats to humans, as monsters, that gives a chance for the Church of Creve to see them as enemies.
Right.
Do you know how they view? So do they have a similar view towards witchers?
I think it would probably come down, if you ask Sindaith, what you would tell him is that, like, it would really kind of come down to the individual priest. There isn't anything a pejorative or a less charitable way of viewing it would be that witchers are monsters created by magic. Normal humans warped by the spells of mages to become, and the mutagens that they consume, to become monsters to fight monsters. So they may, they may end up doing some good, but only in the sense of having evil turned against evil. That is the uncharitable way. The charitable way is to see them as highly educated, highly skilled allies in the fight against monsters.
I mean, I don't know how we'd find out, unfortunately. Don't know how to approach them, even if the villagers did so. Like, how would they approach it? What kind of hypothetical is that? You know, it's not going to be easy to find out without.
It's easy enough. I just walk up and say, "Hi guys, how you doing?"
Sure. That's yeah. Proceed, Doctor.
No.
And the Witcher strides off. Let us know.
You got this, Doctor.
Yeah. We're gonna hit the tavern. We'll be in the tavern. Whatever.
Genuinely thought that the way that Dr. Grebeck was going to die this episode was going to be something involving a net. Turns out it's a knight. So, you know, surprise ending.
But I don't know how to do it harmlessly. Relatively with less risk. Can't think of a way to have the villagers broach it even, and without, why would they be asking? It doesn't.
If I might suggest something, you know what might help? Why don't you take 2 weeks to consider it? We're getting to the end of today's session. In spite of the planning, something we talked about yesterday with Call of Cthulhu as well is that there is sometimes a feeling, or there's a accepted wisdom of criticizing over too much planning in sessions. I don't agree with that for these types of games, especially for The Witcher, where like a lot of it is identifying the thing, figuring out ways of dealing with its threats and whatnot. So even though we didn't have a fight and you guys didn't necessarily advance the plot, I feel like these are really good sessions for setting up those action sessions. This is part of the style of play of the Witcher RPGs. I think this was and this is, I believe, the first one of these we've had. Otherwise, you guys have largely been having just shit happen, as you guys have been going.
Although I think the last session didn't have combat either, if I recall. But
no, but you did do exploration there. You did explore and learn more about. So you did learn more about your circumstances and whatnot.
But a planning session, you're right. I don't think we had one.
Yeah, I mentioned that only to say that I'm not going to, like, the XP you're going to gain from today, even though you didn't fight anything or whatnot, it's still going to be the same, which I think, what have we been rewarding, 5, 6?
Yeah, I want to say you were doing, I don't know.
Minimum,
Let's take a look at the rules here.
Minimum we've ever gotten was 3. I think maximum is considered 6.
Maximum is 6? Okay, today's not a 6.
I don't know, I might be wrong.
I'm confusing it with 5 Rings. We play 5 Rings tomorrow, and it's got a similar scale of things. Speaking of which, guess what came out today, Sean? The new Dragon Clan book. Released on drive-through, so it means the print version should be out pretty soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess James isn't going to be there, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, let's talk about that after the session. We'll talk because if he's going to be gone. Yeah. Okay, so hold on here. What page is the XP stuff on again? It's in the blue pages, I know, but it's...
I found leveling up, which is on 59, but that doesn't say...
Like I know it's in the blue area here, but I don't remember where.
It's looking in the table of contents.
Let's see here.
Page 59, Kevin.
59? Leveling up. Perfect. Okay. All right, so general XP, not giving up more than 4. Let's say 4 IP for today.
Okay.
That's more. Right. Yeah, you guys did, and Sindai, I believe you had a day. For what Sean suggested, you were able to pick one skill that you just trained for that one day that you did nothing. Get one extra IP for that specific skill. Okay. Great. So then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for Part 6, Chapter 6. The Season of Ravens arc of our campaign. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, there is a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where we have channels dedicated to... I don't know if we got a specific channel related to this campaign, but we do for the players, but not for the wider community, but we do have an assorted games channel, and then we have channels dedicated to every other campaign we run on the channel. If you, in addition, there is a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really terrific organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphan and abandoned children, and including ongoing relief efforts in Ukraine and surrounding countries at the time of recording. For all donations that go through that link, go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help the kids who benefit from that, and as small ways of saying thank you for that. For one, in December of 2022, we'll be having our next charity raffle. And every $25 Canadian that you donate gives you one chance to win the grand prize or one of the other great prizes in our next charity raffle. You can find what was awarded in the last charity raffle if you head on over to the Dungeon Musings Discord server's Charity Initiatives channel. In addition, if you've donated since June of 2022, you have an opportunity to have a say in our next charity session. The next charity session is going to be on, I believe it's to November 25th or 26th, near the end of November 2022, and we will be playing a channel favorite, Modifius Entertainment's Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of. And donors will help us shape that session by determining where it's going to be, what kind of Conan tale it's going to be. You know, there's a wide variety of Conan the whatever, and we'll be voting on that. We'll be voting on characters, and we'll help see the campaign come together, or the session come together. Our last charity session was a session of Eden Studios' All Flesh Must Be Eaten, and it was a lot of fun seeing the session come together from the way the donors made their selections. So I'm expecting a lot of fun from that as well. So you have a chance to have a say at what happens on the channel, as well as to win some cool gaming stuff and help some kids along the way as well. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games, the preeminent retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. They are currently having their 25th anniversary, where they're offering a discount of 25% off of a massive variety. I think they said 90% of their stock is on sale at 25% off. If you are listening to us during the month of their anniversary sale, the largest discount they've had ever, then you can go ahead and enjoy that there. Noble Knight has a wide selection of new RPGs, board games, and card games, as well as a terrific selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. That's my favorite way of using Noble Knight, and I've been able to fill a number of different collections, not only because of the great stock they have, but also because of the terrific want list feature, where if they have something that is not in stock, but you want to be notified when they do get it in stock, you can do that. And usually it's not much of a wait for you to, for them to get it in stock, except for my last book I need for my Conan D20 collection. There's one book I need for it, and it came in. I got the email, and I just was distracted and couldn't get to it right away, and it sold out before I got a chance to. So I'm eagerly awaiting the arrival of that. The prices are usually competitive with any online sources as well. Games that are in high demand are going to command higher prices, but it's what you'd pay, going on eBay or whatnot. But games that aren't in high demand, like I was able to fill my entire Aberrant collection at about $10 a book, because they weren't in high demand at the time. Excuse me. Outside of the sale period, if you do make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code Musings, which will give you 10% off your purchase, even if you're heading there outside of the sale. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart heroes for joining us today. So Sean, Will, and Robert, thank you so much for joining us back on the continent. Congratulations on making your plans for how to tackle this mysterious black griffin. I'm sure your plans will go off without a hitch if past experience with role-playing games has told me anything. Otherwise, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we gave you a couple of hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and see the troubles our heroes are finding in the foothills of the Dragon Mountains. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.